I have been messing around with the Bxndxge Stitch, and this is the first time I have put it on the Kraken blade. The Bxndxge Stitch is a Balisong that is both a original blade. Well, it's actually an original blade with handles, a Kraken rehandle, and a rep rehandle, as well as, I guess, a rep re-blade. We'll get to the rep parts later, but right now I'm focusing on the Kraken parts. So the Bxndxge Stitch is, I would say, default more of a rep than a Kraken. But what's interesting is within the handles there are two sets of holes. There's, you can kind of see it. Yeah, so there is four holes up here: outer, upper, and lower. So the inner and outer one is a matter of symmetry. It's just so that you can have it on either side, and your handles can be on either side. I actually think I kind of have these handles switched. It's like not a big deal. And the upper and lower one. The lower one is the default for reps and the stitch blade, and it uses the shoulder pins, which are the kind of normally the pins that you use for a rep, where you screw it in on both sides. This is a hidden Zen pin system. In order to get it to work for the Kraken, though, you need to put dowel pins, hidden Zen pins, similar-ish to the Kraken, but instead of press fit, they're hidden Zen pins because it's a sandwich knife. You put dowel pins on the upper set. Otherwise, if you use the shoulder pins on the upper set, it will catch on the horns. I actually have some footage of that before I got confirmation from Bxndxge how do I Kraken? How do I do this? I've also been messing around with different weights, mostly no weights and one weight, because I do prefer neutral. However, one weight feels really good as well. It still fans very nicely. Like right now, the Kraken blade honestly makes it feel pretty neutral, maybe oh so slightly handle bias. Hard to say. I want to say the Kraken blade is lighter than the Kukri stitch blade. Not sure. One weight feels really good. It feels honestly kind of like a stock Kraken. So Ethan Blade Bias has had some thoughts about rehandles. And he's like, I don't get Kraken rehandles. And while I do have experience with the Blox V1 titanium handles, of which this whole pattern is sort of reminiscent of. It has a similar-ish hole pattern, but instead of X's here and there, it just instead of it like being a point, it just goes out. I actually sold that, but the V2 Blox titanium rehandles are rounder and are the same weight as a Kraken, and I would surmise that it feels similar-ish, but instead these are sandwich, and the Blox V2 titanium rehandles are channel. They are, the V1s were, the Zen pins were screw based, so you had to screw them tighter. These are hidden. Actually, well, it has to be kind of, because it's this modular, otherwise you would have like four sets of screw holes out here, and that would honestly look kind of ugly. So I really like this system. Now, as for what Ethan has said, it's sort of like he doesn't get it because the Kraken is good, and he feels like the titanium rehandles don't really like feel worth it. I would say the Blox, though I haven't tried the Blox V2 ones, I think that those probably feel really good. They are, like the V1s were like kind of large. These handles are, I would say, relatively like thin this way, but they are wider on the face than they are on the sides. So you have a mildly rectangular one, and it is kind of rounded. It's very comfortable. But honestly, I'm sort of in a similar way where I'm like, I have a Kraken. Right now, I don't have a Kraken because I have disassembled my own Kraken 2.5 for the stitch rehandle on the Kraken blade. I personally would rather just have my stitch handle on the stitch blade. You can just buy the stitch handles currently on Zippy's website for $325. Is it worth removing the handles that are Kraken, like if you really hate aluminum, then like, but like if you love the Kraken but hate aluminum, which is like sort of, what's the word, like contradictory in a sense, like then like maybe, but it's also it's a pretty penny. The Stitch 450 for the whole thing is like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that's a totally reasonable price. 325 for just the handles, and to replace the handles of a $220 to $40 knife. Like this is an inked Kraken blade. I think it's really nice, but I really enjoy the Kraken. The Kraken V, like mine is a 2.5, but the V3 is like even nuttier and has better grip. Like I honestly think that the Kraken as of itself is like, it's good. If you want to put new handles on it, like these are great. And you have adjustable weight systems. You can like these zippy spacers, which are the default for the Stitch. There are up to 5 weight holes in this. I have currently 0 in this, but I have messed around with 1. A previous commenter, Cold Panda, on my other Stitch video said that he likes 3, which is like a lot to me. But you can have up to 5 weights. So if you really, really, really like handle bias, if you're like, I think Will Hirsch likes his knives like really handle bias. I like my knives rather neutral. And it's good. And if you want even more weight on the ass for the Kraken, like that's probably really good. I've not tried any Kraken reblades. That was scary. Thankfully my Kraken's not too sharp. Personally, I think that like if you were to like, if someone had one of these for sale and it was the Kraken blade with the Stitch handles, like that would maybe be worth buying in of itself, but I don't know. Personally, I prefer the Stitch blade aesthetically. Like the Kraken aesthetically is fine, but like this aesthetically, it's. I guess it like fits. I just like the Kukri a lot. I like the Kukri a lot. So in my opinion, does this flip great? Oh yeah, it flips great. Oh, I will say though, for some reason, I'm having a hard time cranking down on these pivot screws. I find that my pivot screws slip a little, particularly on one handle, and so it does develop tap. If you do screw it down, I'm always like scared of like, yeah, it's like not staying. It's not staying tight for some reason, and I'm scared that if I try and really crank this down, which I am again having a hard time doing because it's slipping, I will strip these pivot screws, and that will be a bad time for everyone else in this pass round. One thing to note, the Kraken with the Kraken handles needs much thinner washers. These are rather thick PB washers, and they are the stock ones for the Stitch handles on the Stitch blade. To use the Stitch handles on the Kraken blade, you need to use the same thickness of these washers. I hopefully can get you the numbers in the description. I'll probably ask Bxndxge himself. Typically, though, the Kraken handles on the Kraken blade use much thinner washers. I use steel washers, hardened steel washers from Rimshi. You can use the default Kraken PB washers, but you can't use those thinner washers. I mean, you could. It would just be not great. Using thinner washers with this blade on these handles is gonna amount to even more play. There's like a little bit of play. When I shake it, there's like a little bit of wibbly wobbly, and I don't know if I'm just unlucky or whatever, but for some reason it's having a hard time maintaining the screws tightness, which eventually gets me some tap and play. It's really easy to fix, but I don't know why it's not maintaining, and I am definitely not going to use any thread locker because that's going to be a pain in the ass for everyone, especially because these handles are designed to go on multiple blades, and the stock blade is designed to go on at least 2 different types of handles, which is to say rep handles and the default Stitch blade. So my next video is going to be putting the default Stitch Kukri blade on my hybrid rep handles, And these on my MC Diamond Trainer, the stitch handles on my MC Diamond V2 Trainer blade. And I will examine how it feels as a rep, because I feel like it's, in my brain, it feels currently more like a rep rehandle than a Kraken rehandle. It's like a rep rehandle first and a Kraken rehandle second. And the thing about reps is that they're so diverse and there's so many different things. There are slabs, there are just channel handles, there are so many different blades. There's so many combinations. And with Kraken, I don't know if there are any. There are probably Kraken reblades. I don't really see the point. And there are a couple of Kraken rehandles for titanium. This is at least, there's the Squiggles Kraken, there's the Blocks Kraken, type Kraken, and there's the Stitch. I've never tried the Squiggles Kraken. I've heard good things. I've had the Blocks Kraken handles on a Squid Trainer blade. I did try it on the Kraken blade once or twice, and I was like, yeah, this feels similar to a Kraken, but titanium. I would honestly think that was the V1 again. I think the V2 is it's much rounder and it'll feel much better in the hands. And Blocks is a good friend of mine, so I do think that they're worth it. I think honestly these feel similar-ish to, like, the flipping experience is like, it feels kind of like a Kraken, but honestly I would rather just keep the Stitch as itself. If you wanna replace your handles for your Kraken blade, go to town. I mean, there's like the Bowie and the Tanto and the Weehawk, but like, I don't know. Kraken handles are fine. That's my opinion. But these are really cool handles. There's so much. There's so much that you can do with them, and there's so many different configurations. Again, 0 to 5 weights, and their own stock blade, but also Kraken blades and any rep blade. So, fuck me, I guess. Jesus. Anyways, if you like these videos, check out the coffee in my description. It helps keep this channel alive. I really like what I do, but Balisong's shipping alone is expensive. Like, I'm gonna have to ship. This is a pass round, so if you want to help cover my shipping for this pass round, check out the coffee in my description. Subscribe to my channels. I have a single channel here for Balisongs. That's a daily upload channel. I also have a main channel for game audio. I am primarily a video game composer. Oh, you can't see my awards behind the broken pot. But yeah, that's what I do. So yeah, like the video. Let me know how you feel about the Kraken blade on the Stitch handles. Do you feel like it's worth it? Do you think is it like a waste of money to do that? Like, and also how many weights? Because one weight and no weights I think feels great. So yeah, let me know, because I think these handles are really fun. And happy flipping. This is Joe School Knife Corner signing out.